人民共和国中央人民政府今天胜利了。
为建设富强、民主、文明、和谐、美丽的社会主义现代化强国努力奋斗。
Liangshan lies among the highlands, at the point where Sichuan and Yunnan provinces meet in China's southwest. In 2012, China launched a mass movement to build a moderately prosperous society. But here in Liangshan, mountains and sheer rock faces block the path to prosperity and modernization. Liangshan is one of China's poorest regions. The environment is harsh, education resources are scarce, and healthcare is limited. The 18th CPC National Congress launched the world's largest ever anti-poverty campaign. In Liangshan and other poor areas of China, the situation began changing for the better.
全面建成小康社会，一个也不能少。共同富裕路上，一个也不能掉队。
Eliminating poverty, achieving common prosperity, helping the poor out of poverty, moving towards a moderately prosperous society where everyone shares the fruits of development. These are essential elements of socialism and are the consistent aims of the Communist Party of China. The target of creating a moderately prosperous society enshrines the hope of those people who have long been entrenched in poverty. Since the PRC's founding 70 years ago, and in the era of reform and opening up in particular, the CPC has led the people in a succession of anti-poverty campaigns. Each explored new approaches based on the national situation at the time. In all, they helped more than 800 million people out of poverty. The progress was far ahead of the schedule set by the UN Millennium Development Goals. International experience shows that once the incidence of poverty drops to around 3%, a country's poverty reduction enters the most testing stage. By 2012, China had reduced its poor population to little more than 90 million. However, this meant it was approaching the point of greatest difficulty in its poverty alleviation work. China has set itself the target of building a moderately prosperous society by 2020. Reducing rural poverty is key to achieving this. It is essential in addressing the main contradictions in Chinese society and solving the problem of inadequate and imbalanced development. On October the 16th, 2015, the Global Poverty Reduction and Development Forum was held in Beijing. The CPC made a solemn commitment to the Chinese people and the whole world.
未来5年，我们将使中国现有标准下7000多万贫困人口全部脱贫。
2020, a full decade ahead of the UN's goal for eliminating absolute poverty. China's battle against poverty is unprecedented in human history. Its core target is that, by 2020, no one will need to worry about basics such as food, clothing, education, medical care, and shelter. The photograph shows Xi Jinping when he joined a production team over 40 years ago. During 7 years in Liangjiahe village in Yan'an, Shanxi province, he lived like the local people. The experience made a deep impression on him. Since taking the reins of leadership, he has never forgotten the well-being of ordinary people. Up and Out of Poverty is a collection of Xi Jinping's speeches and articles from his time working in Ningde City in Fujian province. They contain a number of his thoughts and ideas on ending poverty, as well as some key principles he devised. In April 1997, Xi Jinping, as Deputy Secretary of the Fujian Provincial CPC Committee, traveled to Ningxia in the country's northwest. He proposed creating a new village, Minning, in a river valley with abundant water for irrigation, which impoverished locals could move to.
吊庄是宁夏的词儿，这个福建就叫移民，就把这个村儿从这儿调到这儿来，这叫吊庄。但是那个时候啊，东部地区你拿很多钱来搞这个也不可能，但是当时也是上千万，啊，做了这个闽宁村。
当白头上来的时候是什么没有，我是第一户建房的。我自言自语说了这么4句话：天空无飞鸟，地面不长草，世界无人烟，风吹3年跑。
Since 1997, some 40,000 immigrants from 6 poverty-stricken counties in Xihaigu Prefecture have settled in Minning. On what was once barren wasteland, a model town has grown up, with 60,000 permanent residents. It is an example of the success of China's East-West cooperation and of its effort to ease poverty through relocation.
7年之计，我最牵挂的还是困难群众。他们吃的怎么样，住的怎么样，能不能过好新年？
In every New Year address since taking office as president, Xi Jinping has spoken of his concern for the country's poor.
小康路上一个都不能掉队。
It's a heartfelt expression by a national leader and a reflection of the people-oriented nature of the party. Since the 18th CPC National Congress in 2012, Xi Jinping has paid numerous visits to the front line in the fight against poverty. He has traveled from the lowest plateau to the snowy highlands, from old revolutionary bases to ethnic areas, from places hit by earthquakes to border regions. He has made a particular point of visiting the 14 areas where poverty is most extreme.
吃得饱，穿得暖，这都达到了吧？
都达到，100%。
党的18大以来，总书记先后40多次到贫困地区考察扶贫工作，走遍了我们国家所有各种类型的贫困地区。2015年，我们全面打响了脱贫攻坚战。总书记连续5年召开了6次跨省区的座谈会，请省委书记、市委书记、县委书记、村里支部书记一起共同分析脱贫攻坚的形势 研究解决存在的问题，使我们的脱贫攻坚始终保持了正确的方向。
It's early morning, and in Shebardong village, Hunan province, She Chuanyo has received a phone order for a meal from a tourist. He and his wife, Kong Mingying, immediately start cooking.
有一双手在，只要肯做，就不怕没吃的、没穿的。
The couple spent over 20 years in the past working away from home to feed their family. They could only dream of the day when they would no longer be poor. On November the 3rd, 2013, Xi Jinping visited Shebardong. In a farmer's yard, he chatted to the villagers about escaping poverty. It was in Shebardong village that Xi Jinping first proposed the concept of targeted poverty alleviation. He urged officials and villagers to explore a targeted poverty alleviation model that could be replicated and promoted. At the beginning of 2014, Huayuan County sent a poverty alleviation team to Shebardong. Its members lived with the villagers. They created a record for every poor household to help them design a targeted poverty alleviation plan.
一开始我是在那个浙江那边打工，从来没想过自己的家乡会变成这样。
The team's first priority was to put an end to the villagers' attitude of waiting for assistance. Instead, they encouraged a desire to get rich and then drew up targeted plans for households and individuals to work for themselves. Long Xianlan started keeping bees and registered his own brand of honey. Han Fengjiao, who was a good public speaker, became a tour guide. She Shunlian's skill at traditional Miao embroidery now earns her an extra 1,500 yuan a month.
以前我们要钱也跟老公要，现在我们自己也可以赚钱了。要想赶集买个什么零食跟孙子啊，不要和老公伸手要钱了。
Shebardong today is thriving thanks to its improved infrastructure, kiwi fruit cultivation, handicrafts processing, and agritourism. She Chuanyo's farmhouse is regularly filled with tourists, and life for the family is getting better. In 2018, average per capita income in the village surpassed 12,000 yuan. A total of 512 poor villagers from 130 households now have a stable source of income. The village has become a model in implementing the targeted poverty alleviation scheme. Xi Jinping has made it clear what he expects from the targeted poverty alleviation campaign. It is to accurately identify those to be helped, adopt measures aimed directly at each household, make precise arrangements for projects, use funds effectively, send the right people to each village, and derive well-defined results from poverty alleviation. The government's plan for reducing poverty is based on a 5-batch strategy. It focuses on developing production, encouraging relocation, offering ecological compensation, promoting education, and improving social security. It makes it possible for targeted measures to be implemented on the ground. In Fenggang village in Jiangxi, there lives an 87-year-old grandmother who has become an online sensation. The image of her smiling face appears on countless boxes. These are shipped out on a daily basis by couriers and via e-commerce platforms to reach enthusiasts all over the country. Grandma Liao makes the best salted duck's eggs in Fenggang village. 3 years ago, a member of the Jiangxi Post e-commerce poverty alleviation team told her she might be able to sell her eggs outside the village via online platforms. With the team's help, she set up a cooperative and registered her brand.
订单量多了，就把我们笨岗村32户贫困户纳入到我们合作社来。养鸭子的你就可以去养鸭子，你不想养鸭子的可以到合作社来，帮忙腌鸭蛋啊、洗蛋啊、装箱啊。
随着合作社的第一次分红呢，大家兴趣就起来了。原来这个东西真的可以脱贫致富，原来真的可以通过一根网线去把这个农村的这个山沟沟里的东西卖到全国各地去。
It's not the scale of the centralized effort put into poverty alleviation that matters so much as the ideas generated by ordinary people. Poor regions have cultivated a number of model industries with workforces made up largely of previously poor people. This is helping their families to achieve stable income growth. In Langkao County, Henan Province, the paulownia trees planted by Jiao Yulu are an important source of income. The wood is used in the production of traditional guqin musical instruments. It's an industry that employs more than 1,200 people in Xuchang village and generates an annual turnover of 160 million yuan. In Wuping County, Fujian Province, the local ecological resources are being used to develop the economy in harmony with nature. The people of Rangtang County in Sichuan Province are making commercial use of their intangible cultural heritage. Qinglongquan community in Yunyang, Hubei Province is one of the largest new resettlement centers in the country for the poverty-stricken. More than 15,000 migrants are beginning a new life here, earning a living from a 70-hectare mushroom farm and a sock factory. By the end of 2018, 8.7 million people, the equivalent of the population of Nanjing, had been relocated as a way of helping them out of poverty. Across the country, millions of poor people are being moved in what is being called a miracle of human migration. Education is a fundamental strategy in preventing poverty from spreading down through the generations. In April 2019, Xi Jinping, on a visit to Chongqing, stressed the importance of guaranteeing compulsory education. He insisted that no children must suffer, no matter how difficult their situation was. He said it was particularly important to guarantee an education and happy childhood for children in poor mountainous areas. This is Jinan Vocational College. Bai Xue is completing her schooling here. Although she's past the stage when she's entitled to free compulsory education, her tuition fees are still exempt. Jinan enforces a student financial aid scheme from preschool to higher education. Students in the most straitened financial circumstances are entitled to completely free education from primary school all the way to university. Today, examples of children being forced to quit school due to poverty are becoming rare in China. Good times cannot be taken for granted. Happiness comes from hard work. In improving the effectiveness of the poverty alleviation effort, the key is to enhance the facility of the poor for self-development. The synergy between poverty alleviation and education needs to be strengthened, and self-generated incentives to get rid of poverty promoted. Poverty alleviation targets both the pocket and the mind. It should also stimulate a farmer's ambition and intelligence. The Poverty Alleviation Workshop in the new era can trace its origins to Bijie in Guizhou Province. Having spread across vast areas of the Chinese countryside, it has become a platform for rural policy study, technical training, and cultural education. In December 2015, the state initiated a Cultural Service Center project. By using culture to overcome poverty, the project would serve tens of thousands of villages in hundreds of poverty-stricken counties. Through a series of measures, synergy has been established among the government, the private sector, and the market. It covers industry, education, health, ecology, and culture. A poverty alleviation system is gradually taking shape that is cross-regional, interdepartmental, and multi-unit, and has society-wide participation.
全面建成小康社会是我们对全国人民的庄严承诺，一诺千金。
Towards the end of 2015, Xi Jinping issued a call to the whole party to expend more effort on fighting poverty. In the spirit of the foolish man who moved mountains, he urged that there should be no retreat. In response, the provincial party secretaries and governors of 22 provinces and regions in the country's central and western areas signed a commitment to combat poverty and submitted it to the central government. Not since the 18th CPC National Congress had the central authorities received such a powerful undertaking from senior regional officials. The whole party was mobilized for the effort. Thousands of officials and ordinary party members hurried to poverty-stricken areas to investigate the situation, hear the thoughts of the local people, and help them lead a better life.
搬迁扶贫，送走1穷200。
It's a concerted effort. Since 2015, 242,000 poverty alleviation teams have been dispatched across the country. More than 3 million people have been stationed in poverty-stricken villages to work alongside the people there.
我们就是做给百姓看啊，带着百姓干，帮着百姓办。
The footage was filmed by Huang Wenxiu, first secretary of Baini village in Baise, a city in Guangxi, Zhuang Autonomous Region. One rainy night in June 2019, she was caught in a flash flood on her way back to her office. She died shortly after she shot this video. She was just 30 years old. Huang Wenxiu, an ethnic Zhuang, came originally from Baise. After graduating from Beijing Normal University, she decided to return to her home city and help in the poverty alleviation effort. Mountainous Baini village was desperately poor. In order to communicate better with the villagers, Huang taught herself the local dialect. She also drew a map showing the distribution of poor households throughout the village. Another of her initiatives was to encourage the villagers to plant orange trees. By March the 26th, 2019, Huang had been the village secretary for just a year. In that time, her car had clocked up mileage of 25,000 kilometers. In her social media account, she left a message. The road of poverty alleviation is like a long march in my heart. As Xi Jinping put it, on the road to a moderately prosperous society, no one should be left behind. In the effort to live up to this promise, the entire party and all of society must work together. By 2018, Huangdu village in Zhejiang province could claim to be wealthy. To show its gratitude, it sent 1,500 white tea saplings to poor areas of Hunan, Sichuan, and Guizhou. Since 2015, a total of 310 units at the central level have been sending assistance to 592 poverty-stricken counties. The efforts of party and government organs, enterprises and institutions cover poor villages throughout the country. The army has also played its part by helping more than 4,100 poor villages. Those who became wealthy early on are helping those who are still lagging behind. Developed counties, cities and districts in the east are reaching out to 573 poverty-stricken counties in western China. In the mountainous southwest, the number 6061 train crosses the Yunnan Guizhou Plateau every day, delivering farmers' produce and livestock.
以前我们这个公益性慢火车他们没有开的时候，马龙的老百姓都是采用包车的形式去到曲靖。他们一般包车每个人就20、15。现在坐我们的火车，最低票价只要4元。
In the modern era, people are experiencing the convenience provided by high-speed trains. But in some of the country's poorer areas, people's daily needs are being met by 81 regular train services.
我们现在这个车厢呢，开了2排位置，专门供这个沿途居住老百姓堆放农副产品和蔬菜水果。16块。
Trains have opened up avenues for poverty eradication. Children can now go to school, while the sick have access to more timely medical care. Centrally owned enterprises are helping 248 key counties, and private enterprises are participating in the poverty alleviation effort through the 10,000 Enterprises Assisting 10,000 Villages campaign. By the end of 2018, some 76,000 private enterprises nationwide were supporting nearly 50,000 registered poverty-stricken villages. Millions of poor people were direct beneficiaries of the campaign. In this countrywide effort, hundreds of millions of people are working together for a higher purpose. It's a demonstration of China's institutional advantages and of the aspirations and determination of the CPC. Build a road, get rich. Since the 18th CPC National Congress, the state has been focusing on infrastructure construction in rural areas. Promoting the upgrading of the rural infrastructure has helped the poverty alleviation effort make steady progress. In Zhenxiong, Yunnan Province, there's a village called Xinjiai, home to 8 families, 32 people in all. What's unusual about Xinjiai is that it lies in a sinkhole, 150 meters below the ground. The villagers say they are like frogs in a well, but with a broad view.
我们学生些在外勤读书，想跟他们老师很聊，都是老师很聊，老师开视频，等老师开视频。
China has so far set up 6.37 million communication-based stations. The number of 4G facilities, 3 million, is greater than the total number in the whole of the rest of the world. The service reaches even China's remotest areas. On December the 23rd, 2015, the last remaining 9,614 households in China without power, a total of 39,800 people, were finally connected to the national grid. It was a massive achievement at a time when there were still 1.1 billion people around the world without electricity. By 2018, more than 11 million water supply projects had been built nationwide, with the result that 81% of households had running water. The first bridge on the Yachur River in Tianqi County, Guizhou Province, was constructed soon after the founding of New China. Over the years, several new and improved bridges have been built over the river. Over the years, it has been upgraded 5 times. Guizhou is the only province in China without prairie, and today more than 20,000 bridges connect its numerous villages to highways and other major roads. By the end of 2018, the total length of the rural road network nationwide was just over 4 million kilometers. The dream of 600 million farmers of walking along a road or taking a bus has become reality. These rural roads connecting fields and households promote the development of agriculture, local industry, and tourism.
看着樱桃，今天在树上挂着，明天就到北京、上海。
A paved road connects people and leads them to a wealthier life. Thanks to the nation's support, good news is regularly being reported from the 14 areas of extreme poverty. In 2018, the residents of Dulongjiang Township in Gongshan County, Yunnan Province, wrote to Xi Jinping. In their letter, they reported some good news concerning poverty alleviation. On April the 10th, 2019, Xi Jinping replied. He congratulated the local ethnic Durong people on their achievements and encouraged them to continue to unite and struggle to achieve a happier life. The Durong form one of the smallest of China's 55 ethnic minorities. Their population numbers just 6,900. The struggle of the Durong and other ethnic minorities to escape poverty has always been a particular concern for Xi Jinping. Since 2014, he has twice replied to letters from Durong people, and he has also met their representatives.
一个民族都不能少，都要呢全面的实现小康。
Dulongjiang, the main population center of the Durong people, is an area of high mountains and deep valleys. For half of every year, it's covered in snow. Completely cut off from the outside world, it was once one of the poorest areas in Yunnan, and even the whole country. In 2014, a tunnel through Gaoligong Mountain was opened. Dulongjiang Township was finally accessible all year round.
以前乡里到县里啊，需要走3天，在半路上要住在树洞或者是矮洞里面，现在只有3个小时。
The poverty alleviation effort has transformed Dulongjiang Township. Farming, aquaculture, and tourism are developing rapidly. Targeted poverty alleviation has brought progress to the Durong people. Targeted poverty relief is based on a one-step-at-a-time strategy. Every step counts.
脱贫只是第一步，更好的日子还在后头。我们接受奋斗，奋斗就是幸福。
Every year, Liangshan in Sichuan province holds the Torch Festival of the Yi people. In the course of 5 years, the number of poor people here has fallen from 970,000 to 170,000. In the 6 years up until the end of 2018, the size of the rural poor population across the country fell from 98.99 million to 16.6 million. The total reduction of 82.39 million was equivalent to the population of Germany. As of July 2019, 436 poverty-stricken counties nationwide and more than 100,000 poor villages had been lifted out of poverty. The people no longer have any worries about food and clothing, and compulsory education, basic medical care, and housing are guaranteed. More than 10 million people are being lifted above the poverty line every year. In other words, more than 20 people a minute can start to enjoy a carefree life. The Chinese dream is the dream of pursuing happiness. Ensuring the welfare of the people, solving their problems, and guaranteeing them a comfortable life is the goal the CPC has set for its centenary. People, when they are placed at the center of things, become the most powerful force for fighting poverty and improving cities and villages. Today, young people are enjoying the benefits of the progress that has been made in nurturing and educating them and in providing them with opportunities. The same is true for the sick as well as the frail and elderly. People are confident that the happiness and sense of security they are enjoying now will be sustained. As the world's largest developing country, China has always been an advocate and strong supporter of international poverty alleviation. In the past 30 years, the worldwide population living in extreme poverty has fallen from 40% to 10%. China accounts for most of this reduction. While striving to eradicate poverty at home, China has also provided assistance to other developing countries. In the past 70 years, it has sent support worth nearly 400 billion yuan to more than 160 countries and international organizations. It has also offered its advice and solutions for global poverty reduction.
Most important contribution that China is giving to the eradication of poverty is the Chinese achievement. The fact that China has been able to move hundreds of millions of people out of poverty, and that China has now a very clear target to fully eradicate extreme poverty in China in 2020. So this is the most important contribution.
Throughout history, no other government has ever dared to set a deadline for eliminating absolute poverty and building a moderately prosperous society. The Chinese government has not only made this promise, but is actually living up to it. The effort will not cease until complete success is achieved. Poverty has existed in China for thousands of years, and winning the fight against it will be a historic achievement. This great undertaking will be recorded in the history of human social development. Its success is proving to the world that the socialist system with Chinese characteristics is thriving.
我是多么的幸运，降生在你的怀里，我的血脉流淌着你的神奇和美丽，那仁慈的情谊，那温暖的回忆，你对我的恩泽感动天和地。